For me, Christmas break is finally here, and I'm psyched because finally no more clusterfuck of schoolwork. I can finally just sit around and do nothing and push out more videos because I want to make a lot more videos during this 12-day break. So why not start off with a depressing topic, which is my top 5 favorite deaths in anime and manga. Whoa, that was a shitty burp. I'm sorry about that, but let's just get it. Let's just get it on. Let's just go already. This is completely subjective, and it actually is an order. So, from my, I don't want to say least favorite, but favorite to most favorite. Let's just fucking say that. Now, if I don't have a series that you have read and I haven't, then don't freak the fuck out. Like, oh, this person's death was way sadder than this person's death. I haven't really read the series, so and to prevent spoilers, I'm going to have a little timeline in the description, which will be, number 5 will be X amount of time started from ended, the start and then end time, and then so on and so forth. So, if I get up to a series, and I will say the title before the character's death, if I get up to a series that you have not seen before, then just go to the number 4 section, click that. If you haven't seen that series, then, rinse and repeat, do the same shit. So, yeah, let's just go. Number 5. From One Piece. 3. 2. Ace's death. I got spoiled to this death, and I still cried like a bitch, in all honesty, because I even saw a picture of Luffy holding Ace with a hole through his chest. I'm like, oh, how the fuck did that happen? But at the time, I really didn't care about spoilers, and now I do. If I get spoiled to one little thing, I'll just freak the fuck out. With this death, you feel for Ace. Like, we haven't really seen much of Ace in the series, but he was a cool character. But it also affects Luffy's character as well, in that he wants to, protect all his friends and whatnot. He won't let anyone else die. We see that in a bunch of other series, but it's still development nonetheless. Doing a bunch of hand signals. Swim, motherfucker. What am I doing? I'm just talking like an idiot at this point. But with Ace, we find out a bit of his past in the time of his death. That people were saying if Gold Roger had a kid, then they wouldn't care. Like, they would want the kid to die. Of course, him being Ace. So if Ace, he had this resentment towards his father who he didn't even know, and just, he didn't have anyone really with him when he was younger, growing up. Of course, he had Luffy and then Sabo, and he had Garp as well, but Luffy and Sabo had more of an impact on him, because he himself said if it wasn't for Luffy and Sabo, then he really wouldn't have wanted to live. And this branches out to the Whitebeard Pirates as well, how they were Ace's second family, really, how Whitebeard gave Ace a purpose for Whitebeard to become the Pirate King. And this gave Ace some hope. And him crying shows that he appreciates that he's had so many people who just love the absolute shit out of him. And just when he flopped, bawing, Luffy's reaction as well, just so incredibly sad. I mean, how could you not even, you don't have to bawl, but how could you not tear up for that? Oh, that's so sad, man. Now, number 4. 3, 2, 1. The death of Maze Hughes. I forgot to say the title name. I'll put like an annotation in front of that, but from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because the first series was absolute shit. I mean, you can't just change everything. I'm deviating. With Hughes, I believe in Brotherhood we've only seen him for about 8 episodes. With this, he was killed because he found out way too much about what was going on within the military, I believe it's called. I haven't seen the series in quite some time. I believe, yes, he was killed by Envy with a gunshot, or maybe stabbed. I'm not really sure how that went down. I believe it was a gunshot. And he died in a phone booth, and it was just so incredibly sad, because Hughes was a funny character, and I have a soft spot for funny characters, and just Hughes' death, again, it was sad because he died, but it was even sadder to see the reaction out of everyone else, from his daughter saying, "Why are they burying Daddy? He needs to do his work. Stop burying him." And it was so fucking sad. Like, you see Armstrong, this big, bulky dude, silly and shit. The Armstrong family for generations. He's crying. We see, and this affects Mustang's character as well, because he's on a revenge spree, and then he almost gets it by killing Envy, but then, Hawkeye stops him in the last second, like, this isn't gonna help you at all. But with Mustang, I remember when he was standing in front of Hughes's grave, and he said, "It sure is a bad time for rain," or something like that. And if you remember from earlier on in the series, Mustang, or rather Hawkeye, points this out to Mustang, that he's useless in the rain, being that, fire powers. And Mustang is saying that he felt useless during Hughes's death, because he couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't save his friend. And that's when the tears started to roll for me. Well, they've been rolling, but just this is why this death made it into number 4. Now, number 3, from Monster. 3, 2, 1. Grimmer. Oh my freaking god. This death was one of the deaths that I freaking loved it. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. But this is the first time I've cried during a death in like a long time. And by that I mean a couple months. But still, during it, you should be crying during a death, not being like, nah, didn't really care. This is a death done right, because it just has so much behind it. With Grimmer, in his last moments, he was shot, and usually when he would kill someone, the Magnificent Steiner would take his place in, performing the deed, his alter ego, his other personality, if you will. Well, this, Grimmer, he killed those shooters by himself. And as he's dying, he said that they should have a picnic sometime. Like, he's been saying that the whole time, and it sucks because he never got to have that picnic with Tenma. I mean, he did, like, way back, but he didn't get to have another one. He didn't get to have that final picnic, which just sucks. And after that, he starts crying. And I think he's teared up a bit in the series, but to be full on crying, I think this was the first instance. And he's saying as he's crying, this is sadness, but it also feels like happiness. And he wasn't crying for himself, he was crying for his son. Because his son died, and his wife was saying, "What the hell? Your son just died. How can you be so cold? How can you be so nonchalant about this situation?" And Grimmer, he just couldn't cry because his emotions were suppressed in 511 Kinderheim. And with this, during his time of death, he can finally just let his emotions go, let out the sadness. And as he's dying, his final words were, he didn't see the last episode of The Magnificent Steiner, but he saw it as the Steiner finally becoming human again, and that has so much symbolism behind that, because it just showcases the development of the character Grimmer, how he started off with no emotions, and now he has finally gained emotions in his time of death. And gaining emotions has finally made him become human, like the Magnificent Steiner. So the way this death was, the atmosphere of it, the structure of it, the character development of it, it was just magnificent. I really loved it, and that's why it made the number 3 spot. By the way, Monster, great series. I really need to do just a series review sometime. Okay, number 2. From Hunter x Hunter. 3, 2, 1. The Death of Meruem and Komugi. Or Komugi. You could say it either way. This is another character development death, in that we follow Meruem and Komugi for so long. I think it made it sadder for me because I was watching the anime, and then after that episode where Gon went, freaking Hulk mode, I read up to the rest of the manga because I believe the manga came out or came back the next day after that episode. So I was like, okay, I'll just catch up to the manga. And I read this death in the manga, and this is actually the first time where I've actually cried reading a manga or comic in general. And before I get into the death itself and what it meant, I'm just gonna rehash what I felt like during the death. Oh fuck, man. That's literally what I said as they were dying. It was just, oh fuck, shit. I just couldn't stop crying. The waterworks would not stop. And I'm gonna tear up again just thinking about it. Fuck. Stop. Stop. And seeing it in the anime again. I did a live reaction of it. You can find it somewhere on my channel, but I wasn't really crying. I was tearing up, but after that, I cried like a bitch. Okay, go into the death, would ya? Meruem. A character who started off cold. And me, with my problem with Meruem's character development, it isn't a big one, but for me, it just happened way too quickly. I believe he was only in this world for like a month, maybe 3. So it happened a bit too quickly for my taste, but he just starts off thinking that humans are nothing. They're just lowly creatures who just deserve to be squashed like ants. Very ironic in that the humans are being killed by ants. And as he meets Komugi, as they're playing Gungi, a board game, he realizes that humans have more to offer rather than just being food. Because Komugi, she just keeps beating him and beating him and beating him. And out of all these games that they've played, he could never win a single game. And Komugi, as a human, she was a challenge to Meruem. And this could be seen as the wrath of the human race. Maybe they have more to offer than just being meatbags. And Meruem, he just grows more and more attached to Komugi because they keep playing the game. He just wants to play. He wants to win. But then he starts doing it out of the sheer enjoyment of it. And I remember one case where Komugi, she was being attacked by a crow, and Meruem, he actually showed sympathy for her, and he wanted to know how she was doing. And he's thinking to himself, why the hell do I care? Why do I care about this human? Because he's developed a friendship. Maybe something even more than that. Who knows? But in another case, Meruem, when Komugi, she was hit by Zeno's attack, he showed, a caring attitude for her because he asked Neferpitou to heal Komugi. And again, do I even have to talk about that final scene with both Meruem and Komugi? Because they both have development within the series. And Meruem, he's not the same cold king that he used to be. He's actually more benevolent. He would actually, if things were different, he would actually want to live beside humans, because he's become more human-like in the end of the series. And with Komugi as well, when she's crying, she's just experiencing the sadness. I mean, even Meruem tells Komugi that what did he say exactly? A sickness or a disease, and if she stayed in that room, then she would die. But she didn't care. She just wanted to be with the person who she loves the most, and just play one final round. And to see them both just die on that floor. Remember him saying, "Hold my hand. Say my name one last time." And it also shows that he's developed trust for her because he gives... No, what is it? Scratch that. No, what do you say? Just state his name plainly, not adding a suffix. Oh, but again, just them dying on that floor, her saying goodbye, "I'll see you soon." So fucking sad. I've spent a lot of time on this death, but there's a lot to freaking cover, because this is another death where it's just a lot of character development, and if you don't mention everything, then it's like, the fuck. Number 5 from Naruto. And I know people are probably like, "Oh, Naruto? What the fuck? Are you a Naruto?" No. No, I'm not. You can check my past reviews of Naruto. I'm not a Naruto by any means, but this death was the saddest death, in my opinion. The death of Jiraiya. I forgot to show Don't say shit. This is the Naruto section. I was gonna bring up something from my last death, but just don't talk about that. Jiraiya's death. This, I can't explain it. This death, first of all, it was just done perfectly. My attachment towards the Jiraiya character is real because, again, I have an attachment for funny characters, and to see this awesome character just die with all of these regrets, just everything that happened to him, arm sliced, stabbed, throat crushed, stabbed again, all this shit happened to him. He just looks like an animal that's about to be put down, and he has all these regrets on his mind. Like, he never got Tsunade, he could never protect his master or his student, he could never do anything in his mentality. He never contributed. The way he saw, he never contributed to the Shinobi world, and he could never... God, how do I fucking phrase this? He could never do anything, and he could never find true peace, but he finds that Naruto, child of prophecy, I don't really like that aspect, how Naruto's the prophecy and everything, but still, it represents a lot for the character Jiraiya. And finally, when he dies, and just that, again, another reason why it was sad is because it was really built up. I mean, the moment Jiraiya left the village, I was thinking, oh shit, is Jiraiya gonna die? He's fighting the Akatsuki leader. He's fucked. And just all this build-up we got, there's so much tension in this fight where Jiraiya, he looked like he was doing fine, but then he started to lose it, and just all that build-up made it all the more sadder. But just him just sinking to the bottom of the ocean, like, oh, what should I name my next novel? Think I'll call it The Tale of Naruto Uzumaki. And that was just so sad, and seeing everyone else's reaction, especially Naruto's, where his master died, another contributor, the main contributor to his life. I mean, sure, he had Iruka, but Jiraiya really was, like, the main contributor to Naruto and everything that he's learned. And just, again, Jiraiya, fucking love him, and just to see him die was just so sad. And I know I'm repeating the same shit, but I get flustered. So, these were my top 5 favorite deaths. I hope you guys enjoyed them, if you could see every single one of them. And if you want, tell me your favorite deaths in the comments below. Hopefully not in other series, because I may want to read them in the future. But if you have deaths from these series that you would want to discuss, then go right ahead. Alright, this video was way longer than I thought it would be. Alright, see you guys later. And again, I hope to make more videos like these during the next couple of weeks.